Welcome back to the Ancestral Findings podcast. Genealogy has changed a lot. There was a time when family history meant courthouse visits, cemetery books, family letters, microfilm readers, handwritten notes, and long afternoons trying to follow one clue at a time. Those methods still have value. In many cases, they are still where the best discoveries begin. But today, we have tools earlier researchers could only dream about. We can search records from home, read old newspapers online, scan family papers with a phone, compare DNA matches, save our work in the cloud, and use artificial intelligence tools to search material that used to be almost impossible to find. That is a great help. But it can also become a problem. Every website has hints. Every service has upgrades. Every subscription promises more records. Every new tool claims it can save time. Before long, genealogy can start to feel less like research and more like trying to keep up with technology. So in this episode, I want to talk about using genealogy technology wisely, not chasing every new feature, not trusting every hint, not paying for every subscription, but learning how to use the right tools in a way that actually helps your research. Technology can help us search faster, organize better, find records we missed, and share family history with relatives who live far away. But technology does not replace careful research, it supports it. A good genealogy tool should help you answer a question, protect your work, organize your evidence, or point you toward a record you can verify. If a tool only gives you more confusion, more duplicate trees, more shaky hints, or another monthly charge, then it may not be helping you as much as it claims. Let's start with record hints. Many genealogy websites now suggest census records, birth records, marriage records, military files, immigration records, death records, and family tree connections based on the people in your tree. These hints can be useful. They can point you toward a record you missed. They can help you notice a spelling variation. They can suggest a possible spouse, child, parent, or location. But a hint is not proof. Think of a hint as someone saying, "This might be your family." That is worth checking. But before you add the information to your tree, you still need to ask, does the record actually fit? Names repeat. Dates can be close but wrong. Families with the same surname can live in the same county. Fathers and sons may share the same name. Cousins may be born only a few years apart. So when you see a hint, slow down. Open the record if you can. Compare the name, age, location, spouse, children, neighbors, and dates. Ask whether the record fits your person or only looks close. A hint can point you in the right direction, but you still have to make the decision. Cloud-based family trees are another helpful tool. They let you work from different devices, attach documents, add photographs, and share research with relatives. They are useful when you are at home, at a library, traveling, or helping another family member understand a family line. But your online tree should not be your only copy. Download backups when possible. Save important records to your own computer or external drive. Keep copies in more than one place. Websites change, companies change features, accounts lapse, subscriptions end, records may move from one collection to another. A strong researcher keeps control of the work. That includes your tree, your documents, your photographs, your source notes, and your conclusions. Digital organization may not sound exciting, but it can save you a lot of frustration. When you begin researching, it may seem easy to remember where everything is. You may have only a few census records, a few photographs, a marriage record, or an obituary, but over time, the files grow. You end up with newspaper clippings, scanned photographs, military papers, funeral cards, Bible pages, probate files, DNA notes, old emails from relatives, and research notes from different years. Without a system, all of that becomes hard to use. A simple file system helps. You can organize by surname, family line, location, record type, or whatever method makes sense to you. The important thing is to choose a system you can keep using. File names are a big part of this. A file called image 8437 will mean nothing later. A file called John Miller 1860 Census Ohio tells you what you have before you even open it. For records, include the name, year, record type, and place when you can. For photographs, include the people shown, the approximate year, and the location if you know it. You are not just saving files. You are helping your future self understand what you found. Source notes are just as important. A family tree is stronger when each fact can be traced back to a record. If you find a marriage record, save where you found it. If you use a census page, note the year, location, household, and website or archive. If you find an obituary, save the newspaper name, date, page, and database. You do not have to make it complicated. A family tree is stronger when each fact can be traced back to a record dot. Even a simple source note can save confusion later. Artificial intelligence is now becoming part of genealogy research too. Some tools can search full text from old documents. Some can read printed or handwritten pages. Some can summarize records. Some can help locate names inside material that used to be difficult to search. This can be very helpful. A name buried in a deed book, court case, church register, county history, pension file, or old newspaper page may appear through a full-text search when it would have been missed by a regular index. That can open new doors. For many years, genealogists depended heavily on indexes. If a name was not indexed, misspelled, or hidden inside a long document, it could be hard to find. Full-text searching changes that. It can help find people who were mentioned as witnesses, neighbors, heirs, buyers, sellers, church members, or part of a local community. But artificial intelligence still needs human judgment. It can misread handwriting. It can confuse names. It can misunderstand old spelling. It can give a confident answer that is wrong. Use it as a helper, not as the final authority. Always check the original image when you can. Compare what the tool found with other records. Ask whether the information fits. Digital newspapers are another tool every family historian should use. Newspapers can add details that official records often leave out. Obituaries, marriage notices, court reports, land sales, church notes, school news, business ads, and local columns can all help place an ancestor in a real community. A census may tell you where a person lived. A newspaper may tell you what was happening around them. A short notice in a local paper might reveal that a sibling came to visit. A farm was sold, a son joined the military, a daughter taught school, a church held a special service, a business opened, or a family tragedy occurred. These small details help turn research into a fuller family story. Newspapers also give us context. They show us what was happening in the town. They show the businesses, churches, schools, illnesses, court cases, weather, crops, and events that filled daily life. Your ancestor did not live in a blank space. They lived in a community. Digital newspapers help us see that community more clearly. DNA testing has also become an important part of modern genealogy. Deoxyribonucleic acid testing, better known as DNA testing, does not replace traditional records, but it can support them. DNA can help confirm family lines, identify unknown relatives, compare branches, and point you toward ancestors who are difficult to document through paper records alone. It can be especially helpful in adoption research, unknown parentage cases, surname questions, and family lines, where records are missing or unclear. But DNA works best when it is studied alongside traditional genealogy. A match list by itself is not enough. You still need family trees, locations, dates, shared ancestors, documented relationships, and careful comparison. DNA can point toward an answer, but records and reasoning help build the case. DNA also deserves careful thought. Before testing or uploading DNA data to another website, read the privacy settings. Understand what can be shared, what can be deleted, and whether law enforcement access is part of the service. DNA can be useful, but it is personal information. Treat it carefully. Now let's talk about one of the biggest traps in modern genealogy: spending too much money before you know what you really need. Genealogy websites can be useful. Some paid subscriptions are worth the cost. But it's easy to fall into the money trap. One subscription leads to another. A free trial turns into an automatic charge. A special offer runs out. A DNA test leads to paid upgrades. A record you paid to access may also be available free somewhere else. Before paying, ask a few simple questions. Can I find this record for free through Family Search, the National Archives, a state archive, a county website, a library, or another public collection? Does my local library provide free access to this database? Do I need a full year subscription, or would one focused month be enough? Am I paying for a tool I actually use, or did I sign up because it sounded helpful at the time? Do I already have the same record saved somewhere else? That last question is important. Many researchers pay for access to records they already downloaded years ago. Good organization can save money as well as time. One practical method is to keep a genealogy shopping list. Write down the records you need before starting a paid subscription. Then, if you decide to pay for 1 month, use that month with purpose. Search your list. Download the records, save the source details, organize the files. Then, cancel before the next billing cycle if you do not need continued access. Be careful with free trials too. Set a reminder before the trial ends. Make sure you know how to cancel. Keep a note of the date, the service, and what you signed up for. A tool that costs money every month should earn its place in your research. There are many free and low-cost resources worth checking first. Family Search offers free access to a large collection of historical records and family tree tools. The National Archives provides research guides and access points for federal records. The Library of Congress offers historic newspapers through Chronicling America. State archives, county clerks, local libraries, university collections, cemetery sites, and historical societies may also hold valuable records. Paid websites are not bad. The point is to use them wisely. Pay when the tool helps you. Cancel when it does not. Do not let a website decide your research budget for you. Another helpful habit is to review your genealogy tools once or twice a year. Look at the websites, apps, subscriptions, DNA services, backup systems, scanning tools, and software you use. Ask what is helping. Ask what is being ignored. Ask what can be removed. You may find that one tool is excellent for newspapers, another is better for DNA matches, another is best for organizing documents, and another is no longer useful at all. That is normal. Your research changes over time, and your tools should change with it. Scanning and digital preservation are also worth the effort. Old photographs, letters, certificates, funeral cards, family Bible pages, military papers, diaries, postcards, and handwritten notes can fade, tear, or disappear. A box in an attic can be damaged by heat. A basement can flood. A family member may not realize the value of old papers. Photographs may lose their names as older relatives pass away. Digitizing these items helps protect the information. A scan allows you to back up the item, share it with relatives, and preserve a copy even if the original is damaged later. Do not throw away the originals. Original documents and photographs have value beyond the scan. They carry handwriting, paper, ink, texture, and details that a digital copy may not fully capture. But a digital copy helps protect the information and makes it easier to share with family. If you are unsure where to begin, start small. You do not need to learn every new technology this month. Pick one task, scan one folder of photographs, review one set of record hints, back up your family tree. Try one full-text search. Organize one family line. Check one subscription to see whether you still use it. Read the privacy settings on one DNA site. Small steps can move research forward. One better file name can save time later. One digitized photograph can preserve a memory. One carefully reviewed hint can lead to a real record. One canceled subscription can save money for the records you truly need. The best genealogy technology does not replace careful research. It supports it. It helps us search smarter, save better, compare evidence, protect our work, and share family history with the next generation. Use the tools. Enjoy the discoveries. Let technology help you. But keep your judgment sharp. A bright button on a website is not proof. A hint is not evidence. A subscription is not progress. Good genealogy still comes down to careful thinking, good records, and a steady hand. Technology can help us get there faster, but we are still the researchers. We still decide what belongs in the tree. We still decide what is proven, what is possible, and what still needs more work. And that is what makes genealogy both challenging and rewarding. It is not just collecting names. It is learning how to listen to the evidence, protect the records, respect the people who came before us, and pass along something useful to those who come after us. If you've got a hard-to-find ancestor you're stuck on, I'd love to hear about it. Just head over to ancestralfindings.com and click on Contact to send me a message. While you're there, take advantage of our free weekly genealogy lookups. Explore thousands of articles and enjoy hundreds of podcast episodes. We've been helping family history researchers since 1995. And if you're looking for even more, check out our Genealogy Gold Q&A series over on Patreon. Thanks for listening. And as always, happy searching.